Black Adam is certain to become a much more prevalent character in the DC Comics universe with the upcoming Dwayne Johnson vehicle that will be coming up very soon. We've been waiting on this for like a decade now. Is that how long we've been waiting for this Black Adam movie? So we are getting the first of what I imagine are at least a handful of Black Adam comic books. We've seen Black Adam in the Justice League as of late. I don't think he's going to die with the rest of the Justice League. Apparently he's taking that mission off. But we do have an upcoming Black Adam series, which I think will be pretty cool. I do have some issues with it. We're going to talk about that. But the coolest thing about this is the creative team. We have not seen Christopher Priest at DC Comics in a very long time. I think the last thing he really worked on was Deathstroke, which was very good. I actually liked his Justice League run better, especially that last story arc. That thing was hot. And we've got Rafa Sandoval as the artist, which I think is a fantastic creative pairing. I've got all the details for you guys. It's something I think we're all going to be excited for. DC probably didn't plan for Dwayne Johnson's Black Adam movie to be moved from July to October, but nevertheless, it is launching a brand new Black Adam comic book series in June, starring the sometimes supervillain, sometimes anti-hero. Written by Christopher Priest and illustrated by Rafa Sandoval, with painted covers by Irvin Rodriguez. The new series launches June 21st, and according to the publisher, the series brings Priest's trademark wit and skill for character deconstruction to a fresh examination of the man you love to hate. As you can imagine, I am very excited for this news. There are not a lot of great DC comics being published right now. You got to pick and choose your spots. But Christopher Priest on a Black Adam comic book, yes, please. I'll readily admit, Black Adam is not my favorite character. I'm not as read up on the character as maybe a lot of you are. But I do like Black Adam. Really cool character set. Very interesting connection to Shazam. Also, the character has a little bit of Doom in him, as in Dr. Doom from Marvel, which I do like. I like the cut of those characters' jibs. That's why sometimes they're supervillains and sometimes they're kind of straddling the middle, kind of an anti-hero type character. Christopher Priest obviously has been doing Vampirella for a very long time. I think he's done a couple of miniseries in there as well, but it is a travesty that he has not been a mainstay at DC or Marvel. I'm very happy to see Christopher Priest returning to DC Comics and to work on a kind of a big name character. Obviously, this is coming out in conjunction with the Dwayne Johnson movie. Dwayne Johnson happens to be the biggest movie star in the world. Do not believe what Fatal J says. That man is a moron when it comes to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I'm a big fan of him laying the smack it down on the box office's candy ass. You know what I'm saying? A big fan from the old WWF into the WWE days. Big fan of his stick. I really like his films. Is Black Adam the movie I'm super excited for? Actually, I really liked Shazam. I wish we had seen Black Adam in that movie. I don't know why the two aren't connecting. Hopefully they do in the future. But this is certainly something I'm looking forward to. I actually like the Justice Society of America, specifically Hawkman. We know that we are getting the introduction of Hawkman on the big screen for the first time. We've seen Hawkman on the little screen. I think we've seen him in Smallville. And I know we've seen him in Legends of Tomorrow. Of course, he died. He's Hawkman. He always dies. I imagine he's going to die in this movie. But we are going to get to see him in the film. I wish we were getting to see him in the comic book. The information we do have is from the publisher. When Teth Adam is infected with an incurable plague destroying his immortality, he must face the fact the DC universe is not ready to forgive him for his centuries of past sins, choosing a successor to transfer his power to who he hopes will redeem his legacy and protect his homeland of Kandak. Black Adam and the successor become mystically handcuffed, creating what DC calls perhaps the most volatile and dysfunctional super team in DC history. As far as the DC universe not being ready to forgive Black Adam of the sins past, he's on the Justice League. I mean, obviously, he wasn't their first choice, and he was brought on there for a reason. He is on the Justice League. It feels like they forgave him. There's a little bit of forgiveness at least. They put him on the super team, and they left it at home when they went out to get murdered. I'd say that they liked the character quite fine. As far as the handcuffing of the characters, it sounds like one of those dysfunctional relationships, buddy cop. You got a hippie, and you've got a straight-laced guy, and you got them together, and they, oil and water don't mix kind of scenario. Recently, they did have something like this in DC Comics. It was called The Terrifics, where essentially the main characters were all tethered to each other, and they had to be within a certain proximity of each other or they would all die. I think that was essentially the premise of the book when it first came out. That was a really good series. So it's certainly a proven trope or storyline that you could use in here. As far as Black Adam looking for a successor and someone to replace a long-standing character within the DC Comics universe, I think this is kind of stupid. I imagine this came from the DC editorial staff rather than Christopher Priest. If you have a Black Adam movie coming out starring The Rock, and this Black Adam series is supposed to coincide with it, wouldn't you want the series to be highlighting Black Adam, not him whittling away and finding his successor? Why are we replacing all the heroes right now? Why is DC doing this? I saw it with Marvel 7 years ago. It didn't work then, and I don't imagine it's going to work now. I wish DC would stop being the little brother to Marvel Comics, where whatever they do, eventually they're just going to mimic it. It's just going to be afterwards. You know what I mean? How about you just come up with something new on your own? Maybe this is a Christopher Priest idea, but we've seen it a lot, and it feels like a really, really, really worn out trope. They're literally doing this same story, or I think it's continuing in Aquaman, right? Aquaman. We've got, Superman handed over his mantle to John Kent recently. It's like, I've had enough. Let's just try a different angle with the superhero. That being said, if you were going to sell me on something that I'm not excited about because I've seen it too much, at least bring in a damn good writer. Get me excited by bringing in a creative team that will actually do that. Christopher Priest, Rafa Sandoval will absolutely do that. Christopher Priest does have a unique storytelling style within comic books. I think it should lend itself well to this story that they are writing, and certainly to the Black Adam character. And I do think he and Rafa Sandoval are going to do things that we are going to be very happy about. As far as Christopher Priest himself, he did have some words about the story. Forgive the cliche, but I've rarely been this excited about a new project. DC has provided an amazing opportunity for me to explore and, to some degree, reimagine this character in a very new light while bringing new challenges and consequences to a man who has lived far too long and is desperate for redemption. Rafa Sandoval brings palpable voltage to every panel, bringing out my Kirby Simonson big noise instincts as Rafa's gift takes me to places I never knew I wanted to go. My only regret is we only have 22 pages a month for this. Always exciting when you know that the writer is really heavily invested in the story and wants you to know how good it's going to be. Obviously, he is a writer, so he has got away with the words. I'm not going to deny that. He certainly is a very eloquent speaker. Sounds like he's very excited to work with Rafa Sandoval, which I don't blame him. It's time to bring Christopher Priest back. He's been away from DC. He's been away from Marvel for far too long. I know that Marvel specifically had tried to shoehorn, kind of pigeonhole Christopher Priest the way that they've done other creators of color, to where if you're Asian, you can only do Asian characters. If you're a Black writer, you can only do Black writers and stuff like that. He was not a writer that wanted to be pinned down with those types of limitations on where he could go within the Marvel or DC universes. I'm glad that he's getting this opportunity. If there's somebody out there that's earned this type of opportunity to write a comic series that's coming out in conjunction with what is likely to be an enormous blockbuster action movie, Christopher Priest deserves this chance. And the best part about it is, if people like the movie, and I'm betting that they do, maybe they'll go into their comic shop and they'll be able to discover Christopher Priest. Maybe they'll go back and discover the greatest Black Panther run that's ever written. Maybe they can go back and discover that Justice League series that I thought was absolutely fantastic during Rebirth. Maybe they can go find his Deathstroke. There are a lot of great Christopher Priest comic books from the past to discover, and obviously in the present, because he's what I'm told is doing great stuff on Vampirella. Vampirella is not my character. I'm going to be forthright with that one. I tried to read it, and I love Christopher Priest. It just wasn't my deal. Now, as far as the artist, Rafa Sandoval also spoke. I've been a lifelong fan of everything about Shazam, and one of the things I've always wanted is to draw a charismatic villain, and Black Adam is perfect for this. This is the first time I've had an opportunity to work with Christopher Priest, and his attentiveness, attention to details, and openness makes him a great creative partner. You could easily predict that these two would work together so well since they're such professionals. The really cool thing about Rafa Sandoval on this character specifically is Rafa Sandoval is a very kinetic artist. And you can see that the heroes kind of using their superhero abilities when you're looking at a Rafa Sandoval illustrated comic book. Look no further than that wonderful Robert Venditti Green Lantern run, where he and Ethan Van Sciver were the two artists. Like, it doesn't get any better than that. One week you get Rafa, the other week you get EVS on a Green Lantern book. It's absolutely fantastic. He's going to make this thing sing. It is going to look absolute dynamite. I can guarantee you that. If you're a big Black Adam fan, I think you should be very excited. If you're a Christopher Priest fan, I think you should be excited for him to come back to DC. If you're a DC fan, this should definitely excite you. So I think there are a lot of levels that you can look at this, not just from the creative pairing, but you got the big blockbuster coming out. You have what is supposed to be a pretty important character to the future of the DCEU or whatever you want to call it. And it should make for a pretty damn good, exciting comic book series. And I'm definitely going to be reading it. Definitely want to hear from you guys. Is this what you're going to be reading while all that bull crap's going on in Justice League and they're all dead and, I don't know, Dark Crisis is getting started? Because I'm going to be reading it. I'm going to be very excited to do so. I think this is going to be absolutely amazing. Now, I mentioned my good friend Fatal J earlier. He and I actually had a debate about Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and whether or not he was a superstar in movies. I made him look like an absolute fool on every single level. If you want to see Fatal J look like a damn fool, watch this video because I give you exactly what you want.